Hello again, everyone, and welcome to this segment of One-on-One. Our guest today is so knowledgeable about the levee system here in Terrebonne Parish, and I look forward to interviewing her because she has earned her stripes and her wings. She is now in charge of the levee district. Who is it? Stick around. After the break, you're going to find out. One-on-One is brought to you by the Law Office of Waits and Downer. You love to work, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. Are you a workaholic?
Probably.
Yeah. What age did that develop? Was that something you've always had?
I've always been that way. I don't know. Yeah. Since a kid, I always just had a lot of things. I've never been a still person.
Did you play sports?
Not really, no.
Okay.
We didn't really do that.
What was your thing?
I was like the captain of the bowling team. I know that's really fun, but that's what I did in high school. So we went to Rock and Bowl in Mid-City, if you remember that, New Orleans.
Yeah.
That was always fun.
Well, the bands played.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that. That was great. But I was more of an academic in school. Like I really studied and, did like chemistry competitions and stuff like that. Were
you the nerdy type?
I was the nerd, yes.
Really?
Yep.
You were the nerd with the big glasses in the back?
And the braces. Oh, yeah. Yep. Dad made sure I didn't date in high school, so he put glasses and braces on me. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But did it come natural to you, or did you have to study?
No, it came really easy for me. School was always my favorite thing. If I could be in school right now, I would be. If I had time in the day, I'd go back for something.
Yeah.
I went through college, then the master's degree, went back to school, got my notary certification. So if I could do it all day, I would.
But you hinted to the fact that you're a numbers person. Mm-hmm. You're in the perfect job for numbers, right?
I am. So we've done a lot of creative financing for the levee district stuff.
Yeah.
I'm super proud of all that. From selling revenue bonds and sales taxes and $1.7 billion worth of investments that we've managed successfully over the past 23 years. It's a lot.
Yeah, those bonds, there's a way to move them, and there's a smart way to move them, and y'all been pretty good at
We have been.
moving those pretty efficiently, I should say.
Yep.
Your board hadn't changed much, has it?
Not really, no.
Yeah, so you've been able to develop and understand their personalities too. You have young members on the board now. Then you have Mr. Sue, the anchor on the board that's just been there, who lives and breathes
He does.
being on the board.
He does.
So how do you handle the board?
I work with a bunch of boards. The levee district is the biggest one I work for. They're appointed by the governor, so they have a lot of people behind them to serve, and it's not a board that you can work for and not be knowledgeable about what is going on as far as business of the district. So it's not like a Crime Stoppers board or a recreation board or anything like that. This is there's a huge learning curve to serve on our board. The people that do work with us on the board are very seasoned in different walks of life, so they all come with their own strengths, and that's good to have on a mixed board like that. So they haven't changed much. We've lost a few board members, and they've been replaced. One of them more recently was Mr. Buddy Daisy, passed away. His son took his place. So we still have that knowledge on the board. They're a great board to work for. They really are.
Mr. Buddy was such an old school
Yes, he was.
person and just a gentleman too. I enjoyed Mr. Buddy. But when you get to see all of this play in action now, you still at the end of the day are a public servant. So you're still dealing with the public and trying to educate the public like we're doing now. Educate them on, okay, why did we wait to close the floodgates at this time? Or why are we opening them at this time? That's become a science, hasn't it?
It has. It took a lot of time to learn the way the system operates. And every time you add a new levee or a new floodgate, you have to reassess and adaptively manage the system as a whole. And at the end of the day, and I tell this to all my people at work, my staff, as long as you can justify what you do and you're doing the right thing and you can explain it properly to the public, they're going to understand. There's always somebody that's not happy with the decisions that you make, and you can't please everyone. So that's a little hard to manage sometimes, but at the end of the day, as long as you can say, I did the right thing, the best thing for the community, and I can justify why I did what I did, and you can explain it that way, then I haven't had any issues in the past, for the most part, with all that.
In all the years I've known you, and I don't claim to know you real well, I know you because I've seen you at just about everything we've had to do with the levee. You come across very logical and very even-keeled. Is that a trait you worked on, or is that just pretty much your makeup?
I think it's my parents, my father is that way. You know, he's very grounded. He's probably my rock. Call him every day, you know.
Yeah.
But he's more like that, and I think I get that from him. My mom is like a mathematician, so she's like a numbers guru, and so I get that from her. So I think I pull the best parts of both of them.
So you got it.
I got it.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
I always said when Reggie would come on and I would do shows with Reggie, I don't know how many I've done with Reggie over 40 years, but it's a lot. And there were a lot of minutes where Reggie was talking. When Reggie was talking, I could get up and fix a cup of coffee and come back, and 30 minutes later, he'd still be talking. You're more precise. You like to say what it is and move on. He likes to elaborate a little bit.
He does.
But you worked hand in hand with him, so that was probably a good work marriage.
It was.
You having to tone him down a little bit and him wanting to run.
I'm
the
more
race.
direct. Yeah, I'm more direct than he is. And he would start a story, and I already know the rest of the story. I'm like you. I could get up and walk away and get coffee and come back, and I could say exactly where he is in the story.
But you heard it
because I heard it so many times. Yeah,
You heard them all.
I did.
Because I've heard Tony's stories about 50 times. But now Tony will say, did I tell you this before? And I go, yes, you did.
I know
So
the story already.
he'll go on another one. When you see all the dynamics that are involved in levee projects, the other day the governor came down. Who was your first governor you dealt with?
Jindal, maybe?
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
probably before him.
Foster?
Maybe. I started in 02, so I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Okay, yeah. So you've seen
Yeah.
the realm of governors that came in, and of course we had Governor Blanco in 2005.
Yeah, I remember her.
Yeah, and she's the one that came down to the time of action and committed $10 million. And
Yeah.
everybody was like, whoa.
Yeah.
But she was such a nice lady.
She was so nice. She
Yeah.
loved Reggie.
Yeah, and I just don't know how she became governor, because most of the governors, you got to be a little tenacious, but she must have had it behind the door way of getting things done, because when she would come to do interviews and all, that's one of the nicest
She was
ladies
so nice, yeah.
I've ever met. So, but you're dealing with all these governors. You got a job. You got to figure out your board. You got to figure out Gordy and his board. You got to figure out the governors. You got to figure out the contractors. You got to figure out the engineers. Do you have a psychiatry degree or a psychology degree?
No.
Or are you just good at it?
I think the people that we do work with are very seasoned at what they do. And you know, when you work with people and they're easy to work with, it's easy to do your job, right?
Yeah.
So it's just the governor's office always has a different. Every governor's different. We got to learn what their priorities are, and you got to adapt to that. And then, you know, consultants and engineering firms. There's 5 or 6 in Terrebonne we work with, and they're all in it for the right reason. And there's personalities there you have to manage, you know, and I get it, and you learn it quickly. And our board has been pretty level over the years, so that's good. And I know where every single one of them's coming from. I've known them for so long, you know. And then the parish administration. Every parish administration is different, so you just kind of have to learn to navigate through those, you know, issues. And we've done a good job at it for sure.
We have set the standard nationally for how to handle our own flood problems and our water control problems. And it's something that a lot of people from all over want to mimic, and they want to come down and they want to copy it, and they want to, and first of all they say, well, how'd y'all do it? If we wouldn't have took the moves to tax ourselves and get ahead of the federal government, the state was giving us some, but the feds were holding out for a long, long time. But now the feds seem to be on board. they've seen how much we've had our own skin in the game. So now you're dealing with a lot of federal people,
We
too.
are, and that's different. That's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ballgame.
Takes time, doesn't it?
It does, and their process is not as fast as ours, and
Right.
everything they do seems to be very expensive, and so that's kind of difficult to adjust to, but we're getting there. So we
Yeah, but I
have-
know what you think, and you're saying, all right, come on, Senator Cassidy, can you just write us the check
I know, let
and
us
let
do it.
us do the
That's
work?
right, that's right.
Because we'll get it done.
That's what I'd love to do, but unfortunately, we have to go through the federal process. But Mitch has been fantastic at adapting to that, as frustrating as it can be. He's done a really good job at that, and thankfully we have him, because I wouldn't know where we'd be without him in that arena, for sure.
But how do you learn that kind of patience? Because you've seen it all. Y'all built some projects. You got to make decisions on the fly. But when you got to wait a year and 2 years, I look at Grand Isle, for example. They had a rocking process that Gordy's going through with his new position, and I think they told him it would be a 2-year wait, and then they have their agreement and said, no, that's unacceptable, and I think they knocked it to where it's going to happen in 6 months. Sometimes you got to holler, don't you?
Oh, for sure, yeah. We're actually, Gordy's got us working on some rock projects around Wine Island.
Yeah.
So I have a meeting today about that, actually. So that's going to be a different path that we're doing as a levee district, but it's something that needs to be done, and we're better suited to do it than some other agency. So we're excited for the opportunity.
At the end of the day, what do you think is realistic of where we can expect to be as a parish? And I'm not going to even say the area. I know y'all sister up with LaFouche on some projects, but Terrebonne Parish, since I'm talking to you, what do you think is possible?
Locally, we're going to lift all the levees to 15 feet. Locally, we're going to do that between the local sponsors being the levee district and the state. We're on an aggressive path forward to do that. The feds are coming in to do a couple of reaches that they're going to lift to as well. So I would say in the next few years, you'll see everything to 15 feet going up for its fourth lift to maybe 20, 18 feet, then maybe 20 feet.
Think y'all could get a dome put over for storms like Ida, where we
Sure.
wouldn't have to worry about the wind too?
I wish we could.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That would be nice.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
It took a while to learn the floodgate systems and when to open and, to be or not to be, that kind of thing. And I guess trying to urge the people in the parish, sometimes you got to be patient, because learning a system, the telemetry now, God, we didn't have that 20 years ago.
No. I mean, when I started, we had to call on a landline to the floodgate to get and write down the levels of the water and do it every 15 minutes and see how fast or how high it was coming and time it that way, using a high tide range on a chart. So those days are over, thankfully. We have instrumentation at our gates now that can digitally read all that, and I've shown it on your show before, where you've seen how the floodgate levels behave, and you learn quickly how to manage it. And we have a team of people that work at the levee district that are just amazing at that. I mean, they're better than anybody in the country at managing floodgate levels and closing and operating the system completely. So without them, we would all be in a bad situation. So they've learned it, and they're very experienced at that. So that's also a good thing that we have working for us. We don't have a lot of employee turnover. So the people that work here have been here for a long time, and this is what they do, and they do it really well.
Who breaks the ice for you? Like when you're dealing with all these people, and, I used to hang around old politicians that would always start off with a joke. But when I run into a guy like Dan Davis, he always has a joke.
Yeah.
And then he gets to the business at hand. But who's that icebreaker for you that just can level a row real quick?
I guess most of the time it's either I'm with a board member, or Reggie used to be the one to do that. He would kind of calm the waters for me. He's really good at that, and he knows a lot of people and can read the room really well. Mitch is great at that too. So if I'm not comfortable, they usually take a lead. But I really haven't had a situation where I'm that uncomfortable.
And I think most people now, would never challenge your knowledge because you've been there for so long.
yeah.
So if they're going to say something, they better be prepared to give the right answer because you have all the numbers.
I have the numbers. I do have that.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about what you do for fun, but what's your favorite song? Let's find out a little bit about you. What you like to put in your car when you're driving? What's your genre?
My playlist is all over the place. I have everything from, hard rock to country, to classic rock. I mean, I have all kind of music.
Does
I
it
listen
just
to.
depend on how you feel that day?
Yeah, kind of. I'll fast forward through some songs, but yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
I can do swamp pop for a little bit. Can't do that too much. That's
Yeah.
Brent's favorite. So
Yeah.
we fight over the radio at home.
Who wins?
Me usually.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm going to have to talk to Brent about
Yeah.
that. But so the bridge,
Yeah.
you listen to the bridge?
Uh-huh.
Because they go all over the place.
Yeah, I like that. I like a variety.
Yeah, so listening to that answer, you get bored easily.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to keep it moving and keep
Mm-hmm.
it interesting. And so if you're on one project for a month, I bet you're praying for the next project.
I
so you
do.
can
I
move.
like to change it up. I do not like to stay still for sure.
That's just your personality,
Mm-hmm.
isn't it? Who shaped your personality the most growing up? Was it a parent? You mentioned your parents, but was it a teacher?
Not really. I mean, I think I had a few great teachers in my elementary career, that stand out, but mostly it was my parents, I think.
Like you said, you got a little bit from each of them, and you got the luck of the draw,
I did.
and you got the skills to do it. Any idea how long you're going to do this for?
Probably another 12 to 15 years.
Good answer.
Yeah.
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 It's that interesting, huh?
Yes, it is.
And it's gonna
Especially now.
And it's going to take a little while to get the projects done.
I want to see it to its final, as far as we can go locally is what I want to see it
Yeah.
in my career.
Well, in closing, I told you this time was going to fly by. But in closing, if I got Gordy in a room, Tony in a room, Reggie, Jack Moore, go down the whole board, get the whole board in the room. Mr. Sue for sure. And I said, all right, gang, Mitch, the whole gamut. I said, y'all got to give me one word that would describe Angela. Just want one word. So when y'all come and hand me that sheet of paper, it can't be what y'all all thought. It's got to be a consensus. And they give me that sheet, there's one word on it, and I open it up. What would be the one word you would hope they use to describe you?
I would hope it would be passionate,
Yeah.
but also I'm very good at implementing, and I think that's what they expect of me. So I'm not a scientist or an engineer or a lawyer, but I'm an implementer, and that's what they hired me for, and I carry their goals to the end, and that's really what I want to be remembered for.
I want to thank you for sitting down with us on one-on-one. You've certainly earned the position. You have been there so long and been so valuable to this parish, and we thank you. And I don't know how we could do it without you. Thank you so much, and I
Thank
look
you.
forward to seeing you on all the projects.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie.
Thanks.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm. This one-on-one program has been brought to you by the law offices of Waits and Downer.